Here's to my love. O true apothecary, thy drugs are quick. Thus with a kiss I die. Romeo and Juliet. Idiots. But what is one thing that they had going for them? They survived. Okay, maybe not Romeo and Juliet. They died at like 14. But the story of Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare has survived over 400 years. That's a lot of years. The other day I'm sitting around the dining room table with Emily, Cody, and Elizabeth, and we're talking about the books that we read last year and how many books we read last year. Nobody's number even came close to Elizabeth, which was like 5 billion. Just kidding, it was like 56 or 58. Cody said like 3, and I said like 10. I don't even remember what Em said, but it got me thinking. Elizabeth read 56 books last year. That is 56 separate stories. And it made me wonder how many stories just last year were created. We've constantly been churning out stories for thousands of years. If not for stories, we would have all been eaten by bears. And here's why. One time, a very long time ago, a human went face to face with a bear, and they survived that experience. And they sat around a campfire one night with their little friends and their family, probably some children, and they told this story about how they survived against this bear. And that story was passed to those people around the fire. And those people around the fire probably passed that story to everybody that they know. And now, millions of years later, we all, at least most of us, I would hope, know not to go face to face with a bear because we've learned from experience through these stories that it's probably not a great idea. Stories do a lot of things for us. Throughout history, the more stories we've heard, the wiser we've grown. We learn from other people. We've learned from other people's experience, and we've learned from other people's stories. Stories also help us relate to one another. It makes us feel empathy. Empathy is when we can feel the emotions of somebody else like they are our own. And when our emotions get heightened, our brains send out a signal, and those experiences are now memorized, and it helps improve our information processing. So stories and books, they literally have been proved by science to chemically change our brain. They are a drug. As we connect with particular stories and characters within them, our brain releases oxytocin, which is a hormone that is commonly referred to as the bonding hormone or the love hormone. So our brain is physically altering in order to feel a connection to these characters. Reading does a lot of things besides just entertainment. It exercises your brain, it improves concentration and focus, it helps you sleep, it increases your general knowledge, it makes you smarter, it increases your literacy so you can use big words. Reading can also be motivational, and it can even reduce your stress. There are tons of types of books out there, and if you're like me, you're probably drowning in books that you may not have read yet. If you're into books, there's this thing where you buy a book and you haven't read it yet because you're reading 3 other books, and then you just keep buying books and you don't actually have the time to read those books, and the books just keep coming in, and your brain explodes. There are loads of different types of books. There's plays, William Shakespeare. There's classics like Treasure Island. There is books that have been adapted a dozen times. For instance, Agatha Christie. And then there were none. There's books that help you learn. There's travel books, wilderness survival books. This book, I love this book. It's helping me get more psychological about how I make money. A screenwriting book. It's a how-to. There's also wonderful nonfiction books where it can put you in the shoes of real people at real time. For instance, this book, which is a behind-the-scenes look of the greatest show that has ever been put on TV. Those of you who know me also know that I love Stephen King. I have two full shelves on my bookshelf. Just Stephen King. His stories are immersive and bone-chilling, really get you on the edge of your seat. That's stuff that I'm into. You could be into anything else. Cody's favorite book currently is the autobiography of Matthew McConaughey. That's what he's into, and that's okay. You can be into whatever you want. There's also one of my favorite formats of story. Those of you who know me know that I am obsessed with the format of comic books. Spider-Man, one of the greatest characters of all time. I'm not just saying that that's literal. Stan Lee created this character and he's everywhere. I bet you can't find one person in the world who doesn't know who Spider-Man is. That is the power of storytelling. The shoes of these characters that we can step into, these worlds that don't exist, that we're learning about and experiencing through these characters or through these people that are telling you about their experience, about making money or about surviving in the wilderness. When you read, you're learning about somebody else's experience, whether it be fiction or nonfiction. So, one of my goals this year is to do more drugs. And by drugs, of course, I mean reading books. Read more books. Pick up something that interests you. Pick up something that maybe you think might interest you and learn something. Or learn something about somebody. Or hear a story. Or watch a movie. It's a different format of storytelling. And it also makes you feel emotions. It also brings the empathy. The more stories you tell, the more books you read, the more you can understand the connectedness between each other. And the more we understand that, the more we will treat one another with compassion and kindness. This is Brandon True coming at you, and I am just saying today, go read a friggin' book.